Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here with a very rare midday stream. Keep getting your comments in, and we've got the room mill live, as I've just said, today. Apologies if I had a little bit of a look back yesterday on the old stream, and yeah, wasn't good. And I'm a big fan of a bit of self-reflection. I do it quite a bit. I've had some sort of big changes in my life, which mean that I'm not moving to the place that I'd said I was moving to. It's a big transition in my life. It's a big change from what I'm used to. So it's been a pretty grim last couple of days, to be quite honest with you. So I apologize last night. Some of you guys were messaging me asking if I was all right, and I wasn't at all. But I was saying I was all right, and sometimes you need to have a little break away from the internet. But I don't enjoy doing that because I enjoy doing this, So yeah, I had some pretty crappy news. And yeah, so it's changed things for me a little bit. So you're probably going to be seeing this environment a lot more and not a change of environment. So it is what it is. Life is what it is. And we move on, don't we? So sorry if there's a bit of a sob story there. Just a few of you guys were messaging me yesterday saying, Connor, is everything okay? I'll be honest, it wasn't. And it isn't. But we move, don't we? We move. I'm here to provide you guys with a little bit of light. And hopefully, in turn, you can provide me with a little bit of light as well, because, we move on, don't we, together? That's what life's all about. So thank you. There is 209 of you in the building, which is crazy. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today. So please keep getting your comments in. Yeah, and let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into some of your comments. Andy says, hey folks, hi Andy, hope you're all right, mate. Nothing surprising me about Victor anymore. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into the news. Severe love-hate relationship with Victor, says Alfie. Missed out on Minamino. Yeah, of course, Minamino has gone to Monaco, 15.5 million. It's good to talk, mate. Sorry to hear, mate. Yeah, thank you, lads. Yeah, so it's just one of those things, isn't it? One of those things. Let's come on, actually. Me and Joe will do this. I'm just not in the frame of mind to be sort of like, interviewing Joe, because that's what I want to do when he comes on the channel. I want to be talking to him, and yeah, it's one of those things where I can't really face it right now, but we'll get on with it. Enough of this rubbish. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into the rumours. Okay, so straight off the bat, we're talking Raphinha, we're talking Tim Vickery, we're talking South American press. So Barcelona simply have to up their game right now. Tim Vickery was on TalkSport earlier on today and was bringing up some really interesting points with regards to Raphinha. They actually called him Raphinha, which I like quite a bit. Raphinha. Might have to start pronunciation like that, to be honest with you, because I've just been calling him Rafa for the past 2 years. But Raphinha, allegedly, there's a lot of talk about him yesterday, potentially going to Spurs, potentially going to Arsenal, this, that, and the other. But Tim Vickery was reporting yesterday that he thinks that Raphinha is going to have to seriously think about this move, because, as we've said on the One Leeds Fan Channel, as you guys have said, it's really going to trap him going to Arsenal or going to Spurs contractually. He's going to be locked in for 3 or 4 years. It's going to be a big contract. It's going to take a lot of money for Barca to get him out of that. And not only that, but is this going to affect his World Cup chances? And Tim said it, and, we've discussed it on this channel before, because you look at the options. If he goes to Spurs, he's going to be playing right wing back. Okay, he's going to be interchanging with is it Emerson Royale? I don't know if he's left yet, and Doherty. So he's going to be playing right wing back, which I don't think he's going to appreciate. We saw it with Leeds United. He didn't appreciate it, evidently, and you're not utilising his best skill set, because I don't think he's going to displace Kulusevski, Son, or Kane at the minute. They're on absolute fire as a 3. So I don't really know how that would work. Saka. Are they going to displace Saka for Raphinha on the right-hand side, which is where Rafa's more productive? Who's the better player? Raphinha is miles ahead of Saka. Arsenal fans won't like hearing that, but Raphinha has kept Leeds in the division. I'm going to read you guys some statistics out about Raphinha. He's a better player than Bukayo Saka. It's just the fact that Arsenal are a bigger club than Leeds United, and Saka has the platform. If Raphinha had that platform, he'd be doing disgusting things, like we've seen him do for Brazil. There's not even a conversation between those two, and that's not me being biased at all. Just as players, one for me is world class, the other isn't. It's that simple. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what goes on now, what happens with regards to Raphinha, because Leeds have set the stall out. It's 60 or 70 million or nothing. And then you've got to go and ask Raphinha, What do you want to do? He's on holiday at the minute. Allegedly, Deco and Raphinha's representatives are getting on with it right now in terms of the transfer, the speculation, going down to London, apparently, going to Colney, Arsenal's training ground, speaking to representatives of Arsenal as well. Who knows what's happening there? But the final say is with Raphinha. It's not with Deco. Deco might be able to get him a nice little package. We know Deco wants him to go to Barcelona or Chelsea. I wonder why that is. Probably because Deco used to play for them both. But yeah, allegedly they're Raphinha's preferred moves. But overall, it's up to Rafa. It's up, what does he want to do? His heart is set on Barcelona. But Barcelona have got to up the game now because they thought they were getting him on a silver platter. And it's wonderful that they're not, because they're one of the big boys in world football and they just think they can click the fingers and something will happen. It's not happened, and they're spoilt brats, aren't they? So they need to up that fee now because Leeds ain't letting him go. Apparently, Laporta and Deco are having constant meetings in the background. The Barcelona director of football / chairman and Deco in the background, but Barca won't go above 40 million euros. Well, take the V's, lads. See you later. That's that. Who cares? Bye-bye. Ta-ta. We're not entertaining it. Simple. Let's get into your comments, everybody. I'm just going to get into a couple of them. I've got a super chat. Thank you so much. Some really nice comments coming in. Good luck, Connor. You'll get through it, mate. Yeah. Just got to stay positive in life's tough moments, mate. I really appreciate all the comments. Some really nice ones coming in, guys. I don't want to get stuff about me on screen all the time, so I want you to tell me about what you think about transfers and stuff. I'll survive. I think Kamara offers us more than Phillips does. Rather have Traore than Minamino. Can rotate in other positions and would be a huge price cut subs. What I'll do, Luke, is I'm going to get onto that in a little bit because I'm very passionate at Kamara. I'm very passionate about Kamara over Tyler Adams. I'm very, very passionate about this. And I think when Leeds fans hopefully see Kamara in a Leeds shirt, they'll see why everyone is absolutely raving about this guy. So yeah, I'll get into that, mate. Big up, Connor. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate that. We're going to get into Traore stuff as well. And Raf can score pens. Saka can't. Yeah. Phillips in the building. Hiya, Phil. A lot of Arsenal fans are putting Raphinha above Saka. They don't know football, mate. They don't know football. I like Saka. I think he's a good player, but there's no chance Saka would have carried this Leeds United side like Raphinha's carried this Leeds United side. There's no chance Saka would have made that impact on that national side like Raphinha has done instantaneously with Brazil. He's close to being the star boy already, quote in, quote out. I don't think Saka's anywhere near that for a poorer England side. So, there's in fact, I get vexed about this because what irritates me about football is when you actually have a world-class player, and because they're top clubs, they don't think they're worth anything. So they've just got this cocky, authoritarian sort of aura about them. And it's not the case. You get world-class players at all clubs, not just top four sides. So I'm going to read this out to you guys. Let me just find it on my phone. I've saved it. Okay, so listen here. So there's only two players provided better numbers than Raphinha all season when it comes to all of these curated. So 17 goals scored, 13 assists provided, 155 shots, take-ons completed 138, chances created 134. Sadio Mane's created 100 chances. He's had 125 take-ons, 155 shots, 9 assists, and fair play, 27 goals scored. But you can see the comparative there. This is Raphinha with this Leeds side, with that tragic Leeds side last season. This is why I could not get my head round Leeds fans giving him grief. He single-handedly kept us up. So he is a world-class footballer, and he's proved it right at the bottom straight away. Right at the bottom, he's kept this side up, in my opinion, by himself. So, to do that, the pressure to be on you, especially in that final game, especially, in the big games where he showed up. The chances created is the big thing as well, everybody. Those amount of chances created. What did we have there? Let me just read that out again. Chances created, 135. So we talk about assists, we talk about goals, but 135 chances created. Let that just settle in. If we had more quality on the pitch, what numbers could this guy be on? If we had a striker on the pitch, what numbers could this guy be on? Saka's got arguably, top elite players around him, in and around him. And Raphinha's got the same amount of goals in this season. They've both got 11. And I think assists are similar as well. Chances created, Raphinha's far on ahead. So yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand it, mate. Let me just get into some of your comments, everybody. Really appreciate some of the super chats. Tom Johansson, thank you, bud. I think you're on the Patreon as well, mate. Loads of people on the Patreon did a 5 potential replacements for Raphinha yesterday. Took me about 2 days to think about who I'd put in there and the impact they'd have. The link is in the description below if you just want some bonus content. It's only about £4 a month, and you can jump out anytime. Let's have a look. Leeds United Ultras, hi, best Leeds fan channel, mate. Cheers, pal. Thank you. What striker do you think be bring in, and how confident are you with a marquee signing? And I have the direct message you, mate, if you have a spare couple of minutes. Yeah, I'll check it out, mate. Thank you. Sometimes I don't check all of them because it's just a bit nuts in my DMs sometimes. What striker do you think you bring in, and how confident are you with the marquee sign? I do think they'll bring in a marquee signing. I do. I think they're going to bring in a couple. I'm confident with that. And my strike will be Armando Broja, mate. That will be mine. Obviously played with Southampton this year. I think he's a perfect profile. Tati Castellanos was one at New York City FC. I love what he brings, but for me, I really think in this system, if we're able to keep hold of Raphinha, if we're able to put Armando Broja around some of our players, I think system-wise, he'd fit it really, really nicely, especially if we brought in players like Kamara, players like Aronson in and around him. I think that would be really beneficial to him. It's also helped that he's been at Southampton in a very similar system as well. But I think this kid's going to go from level to level to level. I really do. I think his potential's massive. And you look at the clubs that are in for him, that's why. So, yeah, that'd be mine, mate. Robert Bailey, thanks, mate. Do you think Manchester City is just trying to destabilise Kalvin? 110% he is focused on his role in the England side and has not given it any thought. Do you think Manchester City is trying to destabilise Kalvin? 110% he's focused on his role in the England side and has not given it any thought. Yeah, maybe, Robert. I'm not 100% sure, mate. I guess it's just it's all speculative, isn't it? I mean, what I can say is there's been nothing. Phil Hay reported that this morning. There's been nothing from Manchester City. Contrary reports were saying the other day that, contrary to reports the other day saying that there'd been a bid, and then there's some reports saying there'd been 2 bids, and some serious reports from the City side saying they've put an official bid in on Sunday night. Phil Hay scuppered all that, said there's not been any advancements from Manchester City yet, mate. So we'll have to wait and see. Destabilising him, maybe putting the thought in his head, but I don't know about Kalvin. Me and Joe have had this chat as well. I'm not 100% sure you'd expect him to go because it's Man City, but, Kalvin seems like a home bird. That's all I'll say on that. Okay, a couple more super chats. Ben Turner in the building. Thank you, Ben. Keep Raf, sell KP, in my opinion. KP's looks average with Jesse. Yeah, and there are, and I said, honestly, Ben, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, mate. And you've come in here and you've got Kalvin Phillips as your profile picture. So that doesn't mean you hate him, does it, Ben? You seem to put an opinion against Kalvin, and this is just went from a business sense when it comes to Leeds United, and suddenly you hate Kalvin. It's a weird, fickle football world. I absolutely love Kalvin Phillips, but there are players out there that can do a Kalvin Phillips job in a Jesse Marsch system. Arguably players that can do a better job than Kalvin Phillips will be able to do in a Jesse Marsch system. Kalvin Phillips needs an expansive football pitch. He needs his wingers to be on the touchline. He needs space. He needs players in and around him who are going to be bombing up the field. He needs to have his own sort of screening role. That's what Kalvin needs. I think that's where you'll see him flourish. Hence why, he's going to transition from a Bielsa system to a Pep system much easier than he would do from a Bielsa system to a Jesse Marsch system. But yeah, Rafa, keeping Rafa. It's all in our hands. It is all in our hands, I think, because we can just keep rejecting the bids. It's a World Cup. Raphinha can score 4 or 5 goals in a World Cup, get 3 assists, and then we can sell him for a ridiculous amount in January if teams want to come in and save the season, because teams do panic in January. You could get an Arsenal who spent 85 million quid or whatever it was on Nicola Pepe. We could hold out. We could be strong. We could be stubborn, and we could get to January and they could come in with a ridiculous bid because of the World Cup that Raphinha's had, especially if they're struggling. You forget as well, they paid 50 million quid for Ben White. We all know what Ben White's capabilities were and are, but it doesn't seem to have worked properly, with Arsenal at the minute. So it's a massive, massive move. It's a massive, massive move. So Leeds have got to play this tactically. What would really knock me off is if we sold him undervalued. That'd put the nail in Victor Orta's coffin, because the output that we get from Raphinha, the world-class player that we have on our hands, the aura, everything, the technical ability. The aura doesn't matter really, but he is that man who'll take the ball. The white shirt's not heavy for Raphinha. And a lot of Leeds players in the past, that white shirt's been too heavy. It's dragged them down. They've not been able to perform at Ellen Road. He's just got swagger. He's got everything. He's got absolutely everything. He's world class. So, replacing him is going to be massive. I'm hearing people talk about Aronson being his replacement. If this is no disrespect to Brendan Aronson, if people are genuinely thinking Brendan Aronson is Raphinha's replacement, you might as well just relegate us now. Seriously. I don't think that will be, but in some people's heads, they've not properly watched Brendan Aronson. And this isn't to, be negative towards Brendan Aronson, but he's not that X Factor player. He's nowhere near in the same bracket of world class that Raphinha is. You're replacing a world class player with, someone who's not proven himself in the Premier League at all. So people have got to get that out of their heads as well. Brendan Aronson is not a Raphinha replacement. Bro, you would be nice. Would you take 50 million? And bro, yeah, I would, mate. Yeah, 100%. Gareth Lee Butterfield, good on you doing what you're doing. Keep strong. You'll get through it, Connor. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. And the beautiful thing about this is it feels weird. It feels really weird because if you just joined, I'm going through a bit of crap at the minute. But I want to do this. People want to take a hiatus away from YouTube. I don't, because it sounds corny and all this rubbish, but I do see you guys as mates. I recognize a lot of names and we have a really positive bond, and I just really appreciate it. I really appreciate all of the support. So thank you. Get Taylor left back. 4:30 a.m. just got up for work. Good morning. Hiya, Pickles. Hiya, mate. Let me just get in some more. Guys, what I'm going to do is just get into some more of the news, and then I'll read out some more comments. So, next one. I've spoken about this earlier on as well. Spurs wanting to move for Raphinha. We saw Fabrizio Romano, the best journalist on the network when it comes to the global sphere of rumours, came out and essentially said that Spurs are wanting to move for Raphinha, but they know it's going to be in excess of 50 million. I don't think he's a priority for Spurs. But, if you're looking at, we saw it at the bottom of the league table, didn't we? When you saw Newcastle taking away Burnley's best player in Chris Wood at the time, it was a bit of a power move, wasn't it? And I think there's going to be a lot of power moves when it comes to Arsenal and Spurs, obviously both vying for that fourth spot. And Raphinha could be a little bit of that power play. Spurs might not need him as much as Arsenal do, but at the end of the day, Spurs might go in there and think, yeah, he could 100% fit our plans. He's world class. Of course he is. We can offer him Champions League football, and we don't want Arsenal to get him. It's a power player. It's a power move, and Raphinha will perform. The only thing is with Spurs is I just don't see where he fits in, unless maybe Kulusevski drops out, but he's a favourite now. He's been exceptional there. But once again, it's Raphinha. And that's what you got to say, everyone. Drop the pen, drop the mic. It's Raphinha. And for you people who are that deluded and you're an opposition fan and you've not watched him properly and you've just seen a couple of his clips and you've seen the fact he's finished 17th and you're thinking to yourself, Mo Saka's better than him, Kulusevski's better than him. No, they're not. Not on the same level. They're not on the same level. So, either of you would be lucky. He can do better than both of you. I'm saying it, everyone. He can do better than both of them. And he should be doing better than both of them. But unfortunately, the top clubs, you look at your Man Cities, who I thoroughly believe if Mahrez wasn't there, they'd be looking at him. Liverpool have already made an approach for him. For some reason, they were not back. So yeah, Bayern can't afford him, even though there were rumours for him. PSG, there were rumours there, of course. But their attention's obviously been on securing Kylian Mbappe and putting all their resources into him as well. Real Madrid, I thought they'd come in for him. They still might do. But he's got the pick of the bunch. And that's why he's just there chilling on holiday. But yeah, I think it would be a little bit of a lower move for him, to be honest. And it narks me when they just don't seem to understand how good this kid is. Yet when he's putting on an Arsenal shirt, it'll be, oh, he's star boy, we love him. Oh, this, that, and the other. But he's going to start on the bench. Why would he do that? Why would he go to Arsenal to sit on the bench? Mental. As I said to you guys earlier on as well, the bid was rejected. Arsenal made a bid last night for Raphinha. From what we are led to believe, it is an initial offer of around 35 million quid. Ha 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 ha. 35 million quid. Slap in the chops. Victor probably looked at that and went, no thanks. No thanks. Well, I hope he did. and Andrea. But allegedly, Arsenal and Leeds have been in direct contact, so there is firm interest there. Obviously, both parties are communicating, and Arsenal have just been a bit cheeky. They're testing the waters, and they probably knew that Leeds were going to reject it, and they know a second bid is incoming. What would you guys accept for Raphinha? What would you guys accept for Raphinha? Let me know in the comment section below. Bradley said he'd love McAtee. Mate, McAtee he's a top player, mate. That's why they won't let him go. Him and Cole Palmer are going to be featuring within the Manchester City first team a lot more this season. Delap's going, Liam Delap. Those were the three that were going to sort of make it to the first team. McAtee's a top player. Go look at his numbers for the 23s this year. Top player. Real top player. Alfie says 65 is fine for me. Gavin's in the building, says 65. 65, 75. Interesting. Graham Smith has just released an article for YP saying Adams and Kamara not priority targets. Okay. 65, 70, 65, 65, 65, 150 says Gil. I've just seen Spurs are preparing a bid that's a lot above Arsenal's bid. Bang on. Preach, Connor. Yeah, it just annoys me, mate. It annoys me. It's as if Leeds aren't a big club anymore. Have we not got any history? You know, have we not got any pulling power? But it is what it is. But yeah, okay. So it looks like that's going to be wrapped up. I think that's going to take up, because the thing is, you know what Barca are going to do. Somehow they're going to find some money. They're going to get a loan, or they're going to sell Frankie De Jong, or the wages are going to be freed up. I think Ousmane Dembele's left on. I don't know if his contract's out yet, or if he's still at Barca and he's about to leave. I'm not sure. But obviously the wages are going to be freed up from him. Allegedly, he's going to Chelsea. So Barca are going to have a little bit of room, but they still have to register Andreas Christensen. They still have to register Frank Kessie as well from AC Milan. So, they've got to do that. But at the end of the day, you would not surprise me if you got a late bid for Raphinha. But there's no chance they're going above 60, 65. There's no way. There's no way. So they're going to stick installments in there. They're going to stick stuff in there. And you're just hoping that Leeds and Victor Orta are just going to turn around and say, no, screw it. You're not having it. Bully boys, you're not having it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that one. Okay. Kamara thoughts, Scott. We're going to get into that, mate. We're going to do a little bit of a comparison between him and Tyler Adams. So, bit of news on Adama Traore. There have been 3 reports this morning that are one that's half decent. Dean Jones, he's not bad, and there's a couple of others in there as well that are essentially saying that because he's only got a year left on his contract, and we get him at a decent price, a very, very decent price for what Wolves were offering him out for. I think it was 60 to 70 million last year, wasn't it? Looks like they're going to let Adama Traore go for between 15 to 18 million. Obviously, we do have to consider the wages there as well. Flunked at Barcelona, has flunked for a lot of his time at Wolves. Is Dan James with a gym membership, but apparently he doesn't lift weights, according to Adama. And yeah, what do you guys think? This would knock me off so much. Dan James, I was more happy when we got Dan James because it was almost like Bielsa. And at the time, obviously, it was a summer month. And obviously, you got a lot of connections with, I've got a lot of mates who are Man United fans, and they thought Bielsa would be able to hone the best out of him. But obviously, we know he's just, he's a speedboat without a driver, isn't he? And that's exactly what, Adama Traore is. He's just a massive speedboat without a driver. So, yeah, Adama Traore would be I'll be honest, a bit of kicking the balls. It just wouldn't make any sense. Why would we need, if this is the thing, we don't know if we're going to be playing with width. I doubt it. I think we're going to still, utilize the 4-2-2, and then maybe a 4-4-2 diamond or whatever. I know he's played that at Salzburg before, especially with the utilization of Brendan Aronson. So I think this would really knock me off because it's just a complete waste of money. It makes no sense. And yeah, allegedly Leeds are one of the favourites now to be bringing in Adama Traore. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, everybody. Connor, your face. Yeah, nothing had happened, mate. Nothing had happened. I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere at the minute. There's 3-4 top stories on news now with Adama Traore, which doesn't mean that it's good, it's official and all this sort of stuff. But there are some all right reports coming out about it. I just hope it's all smoke and no fire. I really do. I seriously, this is it, Michael. This is it. I just don't trust him. I just don't trust him. That is a Hollywood signing right there. That is a Hollywood. He must be there like that. Bruno Lage. Do you reckon I could just lowball him and say maybe 16 million? Wolves come back. I know we want 19 million, but you initially said 18. All right, we'll pay 21 million. There you go. You got Adama Traore. No, Victor, no, stay away. James, yeah, top man. James does a lot of the designs for my channel as well. Top lad. We'll be gutted if he signs screams of Rodrigo. Yeah, we didn't know with Rodrigo, did we, mate, at the start? But obviously, we've learned the lesson. Lessons a little bit. Rick's in the building and says Adama is shite. Full stop. Yeah, it is just. I mean, James just said 15 million, 2 million baby oil bill. It's just a bad one. It's a bad one. I would not be going for that whatsoever. Leeds in the building. Jesse plays the narrow RB system. How can Raf fit with that model? Or do you think they may just to accommodate our worldie? I do, Legion. I thank you for your donation, buddy. I think with a player like Raphinha, it's almost like there's a structure, there's a system, but can there be a little bit of a road away from that motorway? Can there be a little bit of a stray branch on a tree, which is just that roaming Raphinha role, where he can almost do what he sort of fits the system. He sticks to sort of an attacking midfield role, but a wide role, but sort of fits within that half space and adapts his game a little bit, works throughout the summer. We know he's played in attacking midfield as well before. He's played it for Rennes. He's played it I think he's played it a couple of times for Brazil. And obviously he's done it for Leeds now. So he has done it before. I do think it takes away a lot from his game. I don't think it's his preferred position. I think it annoys him playing there. I don't think he gets a lot of joy because essentially teams just pack out the midfield against us and it stifles his brilliance. So, yeah, I don't know how strong Jesse is as a coach to be able to say, don't be doing that. Stick to the system. I think, Jesse's adapted before. Jesse has, his time at Leipzig, there was a lot of adaptation where he wasn't always sticking to his principles. So when you've got a player like Raphinha on your hands, does the system have to adapt? I think it does. But then the question comes to the fore. It's like, well, how are we going to be disciplined in the Jesse Marsch way? What's the point in bringing in Brendan Aronson or Christensen, for a Raphinha way? But surely you have to utilize your best players. And I'm not saying you come away completely from the system, but you adapt, I think. That's what I think, mate. Sean in the building, loving the content. I think get rid of KP and get Ben Foster. Butland, interesting. Tyler Adams, Charlie Taylor and Minamino in be a good window, I feel. Sean, Minamino has gone to Monaco, mate, which is a bit of a nightmare, really. Jack Butland, I've not kept up on Butland for a while, to be quite honest with you. Tyler Adams wouldn't be my choice, mate. Mo Kamara would be my choice. Taylor, 100% agree with that. KP, interesting. Moses Simon links, true or paper talk? I think that's paper talk, mate, to be honest with you. That's something that Moses Simon was going on 2 transfer windows ago on the rumour mill and nothing ever came to fruition. All things Leeds United, thank you, mate. Send a chat in next time and I can read it out. Hey, Connor, what do you think about Albert Ellis? That was agent talk, mate. Complete agent talk. So there's no real point in giving it any sort of answer there, mate. I'm not being rude there, but I know for a fact that was agent talk. So, yeah, let's get on to this. Okay. I don't know if it's because I've got a lot of American followers suddenly, which is great. And I love that. And I know they're very, very defensive of their individual players. American fans don't follow teams really, or, don't hunt me for that. But that's what I understand from speaking to a few people out there. They seem to follow players. So, for example, obviously we've got Brendan Aronson, and suddenly I've got loads of fans from the States, which is great. Jesse Marsch, obviously, here as well, the 49ers. But, a lot of American fans love like Pulisic, so they'll go and follow Chelsea week in, week out. English Fans just don't do that. They like a player. It doesn't, if Kalvin Phillips went to Man City, I might have a little bit of a look for him, but there's no chance I'd be like following Man City and hoping that Man City win games and hoping Kalvin Phillips is starting week in, week out. That's just not a thing. But it's interesting with American support. So I understand when they come on this channel and they see me turning around and saying Tyler Adams is not the person I want. I think they get a little bit upset with regards to it. But no, not for me. Not for me. I think if you just, when people are saying he'd be a great direct replacement for Kalvin Phillips, why? If you've watched Tyler Adams before, please tell me in the comment section below why he would be. I've actually seen people saying that he'd be a good direct replacement. So then if you're saying he's a good direct replacement, surely he's got similar attributes to Kalvin Phillips. Surely he's got similar traits to Kalvin Phillips. Otherwise, he's not really going to be a quality direct replacement. He's definitely not an upgrade. No way. Mark Rocker is an upgrade for me on an Adam Forshaw and Matthias Klick. But if you're looking across the side and then you flick the switch and look at Tyler Adams as a replacement, let's say if Kalvin was to go to City for 60 million, and then there's talk of us potentially spending 30 to 35 million on Tyler Adams. For me, I'd be all right with it. I'd be like, okay. And this isn't a disrespect. There's just much better out there. And I've done videos on it. There's much better out there. You guys know who I'm a big fan of, and the one that I think makes complete sense and will be cheap and is played in the system before, and is part of the Red Bull setup now, as is Tyler Adams, of course. But I think this player is just miles ahead of him. And I would not understand Leeds going for Tyler Adams when you have got Mohamed Kamara there. Arguably, well, no, he'd 100% come for a cheaper price. He's already on social media liking loads of stuff with regards to Leeds United fans. I think LUFC Fan Zone said come to Leeds and all this sort of stuff. We've seen this before, haven't we? But he was like, hopefully and stuff like that. If you don't have, Instagram and Twitter, that was a thing yesterday. So he's probably keen on the move. Allegedly wants to be in he wants to be in the Premier League. But Tyler Adams' agent has been trying to, force a move to the Premier League for a while now. So yeah, let me know what you think. Obviously, football's subjective. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Excuse me. Connor's face about Traore. Oh, man, I know. Sanaleb, Aronson is a 10. Yeah. He's 10. Say he's more of an 8, an attacking 8. But yeah. I can have him as a 10 in a 4-4-2 diamond. That's fine. Yeah, I guess in a 4-4-2 diamond, he's more of a 10 than a 6, isn't he? And what are the chances of both Adams and Kamara coming? I don't think so, mate. I think it's going to be one or the other, to be honest with you, because obviously Rocker's going to be playing in that role. However, apparently Rocker wasn't the direct replacement for Phillips, and you do think that we're going to be bringing in another midfielder as well. James in the building. Kamara will be injury free and a physicality option, I think. I don't. If we don't get him, I feel Brighton are well in for him. Now. Obviously, they bought Mwepu from the RB network as well before last summer for 27 million. He's been fantastic for them. So Mo Kamara makes complete sense. A Basuma replacement, quite rightly, as James has said. Slightly different players, but he would be probably a more direct replacement for Yves Basuma. So, and they've joined the party as well as being interested in him. Now, the problem is, if they go out and get him, I'll say it now. You'll see him absolutely thriving in the Premier League. Brighton are a very smart club, a very, very smart club. Whatever you think of them, they're a smart club. They generate a lot of money. They bring in players on the cheap, sell them for a decent fee. But they bring players in on the cheap, and it works. It really, really works. Graham Potter, a manager not a lot of people had heard from as well. Had a good time at Ostersunds in Scandinavia, came over and has done a fantastic job. Obviously, the highest league position finished last season. So Brighton are a very well-established, well-run club. So what I'm trying to say there is if they're in for a player like Mo Kamara, the scouting network on this guy is very, very good. Now, with Tyler Adams, if we're looking at it like that, and I don't think this is just a one-upmanship on Tyler Adams, but that it doesn't look like there are any Premier League clubs in for him. There's been talk of Sevilla, but that doesn't look like it's concrete. Looks like they're probably not going to be putting in a bid for him. but Mo Kamara is, you know, a 22-year-old lad who is just ready, in my opinion. There's players who are ready, okay, and I'm not, because someone gave me about a 3 or 4 paragraph answer on why they think Tyler Adams is ready for the Premier League. That's fine. That's fair enough. I'm not saying he's not ready for the Premier League, but Kamara is a much better suit to the Premier League in terms of attributes. Phil says, I'd rather have Mo than Adams, but surely we don't want a direct replacement for Phillips with the same traits. As you rightly say, in my opinion, Phillips doesn't suit the Marsh system. Quite correct, Phil, and that's a really good point. I think with Mo Kamara, he fits the system a lot more because he's been part of the Salzburg setup as well. I believe he's worked under Jesse Marsh, I think. No, he's not. I don't think so. No, I'll have to clarify that. But yeah, he's obviously worked in the Red Bull system, the Red Bull network, and it's not popular to say, but there is an argument that he's got more in his locker than Kalvin Phillips has. There's an argument, and especially in this system. And we're going to get onto that in just a little bit. So, Finley says Tyler Adams is a CDM that drops between the two centre halves and then the two fullbacks born forward. I personally think Adams would be a very smart signing for a Marsh system. Yeah, but Mo Kamara will be better, Finley, and that's the that's the thing. He'd be a decent signing. But okay, the Jesse Marsh system isn't always about being in possession, which is why Tyler Adams is a good fit. He's a good fit for a Jesse Marsh system because Jesse Marsh, it's not always about being in possession. And we saw that against Watford. We've seen that in multiple games, Aston Villa, where it's not all about being in possession. He doesn't care if you're in possession. You know, the ball, the style of play is very simple. It's central. It's going through the half spaces. It's a base. Not a basic way of playing, but it's a much more basic way of playing than Marcelo Bielsa. Very different, but much more basic. So that's where Tyler Adams fits because he's a destroyer. He's a ball winner. But you've also got to be good in the Premier League on the ball. And I said this before, and some guy came back and absolutely, you know, went hard in on me because of it. But unfortunately, technically, comparing him to some of the people which I've spoken about before, technically, which you have to be in the Premier League, you have to be technically competent. He's nowhere near good enough, in my opinion, to really seamlessly transition into the Premier League. And we've had problems with that before. We've had problems with that really recently when it's come to Junior Firpo. You know, technically not being good enough. And that's a problem they can't make again. They've got to really look at what suits the Premier League, what really suits getting into the top 10 consistently of the Premier League. It is someone like Kamara. It's getting into that upper echelon, that upper bracket. You know, hence why Brighton are putting everything into going and getting him as a direct replacement for Yves Bissouma. That's a massive, massive, you know, sort of tick box for someone like Kamara, him being that direct replacement. So yes, don't get me wrong, Tyler Adams would be it'd be a decent signing. It'd be a decent signing. But when there's better out there that Leeds could get, I just don't see why we'd settle. And I think it would be a very, very seamless to get someone like him in. Ross White, hope you're okay. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, when I was doing a little bit of digging on it, I think the difference between them both, and just because, guys, I'm only doing this because it's heating up. Chat, there's a lot of from the US side chat on Tyler Adams. You know, that's going to be our next move, and then there's a lot of chat from the Austrian side of Kamara being that target for Leeds United and making his dream a little bit. I think with Kamara is I love his IQ. I always go on about his football IQ, and that encompasses so many things: spatial awareness, you know, as I said, positioning, when on the ball, knowing exactly what to do, never being flustered, not being flustered by the high press, not being flustered by any sort of pressure, and just playing your game and being able to do that. Now, in the Premier League, that happens all the time. When you get a team pushing Leeds far back, you have to have players on the ball who are competent enough to bypass that press and still be able to go forward. It can't always be back to Melee. It can't always be back to the fullbacks and getting our pass percentages up from our centre-backs to our goalkeeper and our fullbacks. We need to be moving up the pitch. And that's what a lot of teams did to Leeds last season. They pressed us high. West Ham did it. Wolves did it in the first game. Brighton have done it. They pressed us high because that is Leeds' Achilles heel, because we don't have enough press-resistant players. So We need to start getting players like that. So unfortunately, there might be a blueprint that Jesse Marsh's sides, aren't great in possession and this, that, and the other. And they don't have to be great in possession because it's all about getting the ball to Bamford and playing that counter press. But in the Premier League, there are going to be situations where you're going to be on the ball. You're going to have to be efficient on the ball, especially in a defensive midfield capacity. So someone with brains, someone with passing, which in my opinion is as good as, if not excels, Kalvin Phillips, especially in this system. I think the big thing as well is it being good in transition. I don't think Tyler Adams is good in transition. I think he slows the play up a little bit. And as I've said to you guys, you can't be great in transition if you're not great on the ball. And I'm not saying Mo Kamara is unbelievable on the ball. I'm not saying that because we're going to still have to see him in the Premier League. But Tyler Adams isn't as good as him in possession, which I'm sorry, you could play Route 1 football all day, but you still have to have midfielders who are very good on the ball because there are going to be situations where your midfielders are trying to build up. And with Jesse Marsh, they're going to try doing it, do that centrally. If that ball isn't to Bamford, they're going to have to think of other things, other ways around it. So yeah, much quicker as well. And what I've put down here as well is he's good in small areas, which I like. But I just think it's going to be a big miss. I think it's going to be a massive, massive miss. If he goes to Brighton, I think there's going to be a lot of people turning around and thinking, for goodness sake. But listen, Tyler Adams, I'll say it wouldn't be an abysmal thing. It wouldn't be abysmal. I'd be all right with it. But you want. I just think to myself, if there's better out there, why we're not going out and getting it? It's what it is. Connor, come on, talk about the Phil Jones hype trade. Get him in. There we go, mate. I'm American, and I think Tyler Adams sucks. Listen, I don't think he sucks. I honestly don't. I don't really use that word, mate. But I don't think he's crap. But I, as I've just said, I think there's better out there. I think there's much better out there, and I think for the price that we're gonna have to pay for him, it's just not worth it. But it does stink of a Victor Orta signing, as in sort of overpaying. And the thing is, everyone. And I know this is going to sound really contradictory because I keep going on about Mo Kamara, but I did say this at the start. Jesse knows Tyler Adams very well. Obviously, he's been part of the Red Bull system. He's American. He's obviously been in the national team. Obviously, Jesse was the assistant years and years ago. I would like him to deviate away a little bit from that. I don't know if he's had much connection with Mo Kamara. Someone will have to clarify that in the comment section below. But obviously, he will have had much more time with Tyler Adams, and he'll know Tyler Adams' game much more in terms of obviously him being stateside. And as I said to you guys, American fans follow their players everywhere. Jesse Marsh will be doing that as well. I would like him to move away from what he's known a little bit sometimes. And as I said, I know that can be quite contradictory, the Mo Kamara thing, because he is at Salzburg. But I do think there's a little bit more of a connection with Tyler Adams. There's obviously more of a connection with Brendan Harrison. Christensen was his number one pick, apparently. So I would like him to move away from his favourites a little bit. I understand they fit the system, but, you can mould players to fit the system. I know we brought in Mark Rocker, but Bielsa allegedly wanted Mark Rocker in January. I think that's a very Victor Orta signing. So it would be nice for Jesse Marsh to sort of have that list in his head of players that maybe he hasn't worked with before, or maybe players that he hasn't followed with before. I don't know what you guys think about that. Craig, Son, Kane and Raf. Yep, I'll tell you what, Kulusevski wouldn't be in there, mate, if you bring in Raphinha in. But you need to stump up that cash, mate. If it's not 65 million, talk to the hand. Red Bull are going to have no players like this. Yeah, definitely. Players left, sorry. Bob says, Ballot says, hey, Connor, if we're going to sign Kamara, Tyler Adams and Sandberg, does we going to play both Adams and Kamara with Rocker as a 4-3-3? Yeah, probably. I don't know, really. I don't know, because, you're looking at, if you can play you could play a 4-3-3 with the two a little bit more defensive, and then Sander Berger pushed up. Berger can play in an 8, Berger can play in a 10. So you could play Adams and Kamara as the double pivot in a 4-3-3, but 4-3-3s don't really work like that. It's more of an attacking formation, especially from the midfield. So, yeah, I'm American. You want one look at Pulisic. Yeah, but we're not going to get Pulisic, mate. We're not going to get him, are we? So, Don't worry, Connor Costa is due back. Yeah, man. If we've got Costa and Adama Traore in the side at the start of the season, I'll just give up. Michael says, under this 4-2-2 formula, Leeds will be under the pump a lot this season. We need Kamara alongside Rocco or KP if we're not going to be a ball retention team. Yep, definitely. Weston McKennie is a good shout. Yeah, I mean, Weston McKennie was spoken about a couple of years ago before I went to Juve, wasn't he? So Red Bull Leeds has a good ring to it. It nearly did under Cellino, mate. It nearly did under Cellino. Red Bull Leeds was nearly a thing. Joe in the building. Do you think the club prefer Adams? Just looking into the links, he's the only one that carries credible sources. Yeah, mate. This is what I'm saying. I just think that he's going to go to. It's what he knows, isn't it? Tyler Adams is what he knows. He spoke about him glowingly before. Obviously, it's the American thing, isn't it? Again, I just think Kamara's just a braver choice. And yeah, I think it probably will be Tyler Adams, but it is what it is. We've got to roll with the punch. I think the transition, and I don't want this to be a thing, by the way. I hope Tyler Adams comes in and smashes it. But I think coming from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, listen, we've seen players do it before, haven't we? We've seen, and listen, Kamara would have to come from the Austrian Bundesliga, so it'd be very, very different as well. But I just think Kamara's got more attributes to transition over. So I think, yeah, it's going to be, I hope it's Kamara, but I mean, allegedly, Graham Smith has said that we're not in for them both. So, I mean, that's pretty worrying. But then again, I've said this before as well, guys, lead sources don't always break everything. Like I always see online, it's like it's not until so and so reports it, until so I don't believe it. Look, I mean, you know, the biggest journalist in the world, Fabrizio Romano, breaks pretty much every single lead story there is first. So yeah, there can be truth in reports on the continent as well. I think KP will really struggle at City. He's slightly overrated, in my opinion. Sean, I'm interested. Is that because he's leaving Leeds? Did you think that before? I'm interested to hear what you think there. But I think he's older than Rodri. He's older than Rodri, is it? Which I can't believe because Rodri looks about 40, but Rodri's miles ahead of him. Miles ahead of him. Rodri and Fabinho are the best defensive midfielders in the world. So that's another thing he's got to consider. You know, I know he's part of the Pep side, but he's going to really take up that Jack Grealish mold of, you know, a lot of the spotlight been on him, and probably a lack of spotlight been on him in comparison to Grealish because of, you know, it's just how Jack looks, isn't it? He's got the Gucci brand deal, you know, he's got the long floppy hair. But there's going to be a spotlight on Kalvin Phillips if he goes for that money, and I don't think he's going to play a lot. He's the Fernandinho replacement. He's nowhere near as good as Rodri. He's just not. You know, I know it loses it. I understand that, but you got to be real. He's not on the same level. So he'd be going there to be backup. He'd be going there to sit on the bench. So yeah, he could win league titles and Champions Leagues, but is it all worth it when you get 8 full games a season? Don't know. Yeah, Sean, I've seen a lot of this. I've seen a lot of this, and I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that. I'm being brutally honest. Obviously, I work. I'd say this 1,000,001 times, but I work. I do a lot of the social media podcasting and stuff for City. And listen, on that side, yeah, of course, there's a lot of people who are like, you know, yeah, definitely all this sort of stuff, but he's nowhere near starting. Trust me. If you put a graphic out and put him ahead of Rodri, or even put him in the starting 11, which we've tested before, City fans come back with the flames. You know what I mean? Get him out of the side. He's a rotation. He's this, that, and the other. A lot of City fans want Lavia, who Leeds United were rumoured to. A lot of City fans want Lavia to be progressed and to, you know, he's only 18 years of age, to be given a brand new contract, and for him to be seen as the next Rodri. They want him to be promoted through the youth, as well as Cole Palmer and James McAtee. So that's what they prefer. And obviously, then you've got an 18-year-old who can learn off Rodri, but maybe Pep just doesn't trust him. Clearly doesn't trust him, and clearly doesn't think he's ready for that step up. But yeah. White Peacock Andy at 900 watching and only 250 likes. Guys, it'd mean the world if you could just like the video. It means that it shows up on other people's timelines, and it just means that the video gets a little bit more traction. So thank you. Pope going to Newcastle. It was always a difficult one, that, though, because he's 30 years of age. I don't know if I'd classify him as, like, in the Ben Foster, John Ruddy, Alex McCarthy mold in terms of age and proper experience. But listen, I know he's experienced, but he wouldn't be coming in as a backup at Leeds United. If Pope was coming in, he'd be replacing Meslier. Now, that's a conversation, isn't it? Who's better, Pope or Meslier? Now, Mellier's got about 9 years on him. But as an established Premier League keeper, Pope takes it all day for me right now. But this is right now. And there's so much more developments come from Milan. But Nick Pope's a joke. Nick Pope is a joke of a goalkeeper. I've said this a million times before. Burnley's defence is not that good. And it's never been that good. Teams getting in behind Burnley's defence all the time. He's the problem. He is the problem. He's a joke of a goalkeeper. He really is. So for 10 million, Newcastle getting him, he'll be their keeper up until they get into the top 6. And he'll stay with them. Obviously, he'll be with them in the top 6, depending on when they get there. If they get there in the next 2 or 3 years, whatever. It's a top signing. A top signing. I didn't want Pope. Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, mate, I'm not saying people wanted Pope. I'm just saying, it was Leeds were linked with him. Leeds were linked with him when they went down, as we've been linked with Taylor. From Perth, Australia, and can't wait to see Leeds. James, yeah, coming down under, mate. Coming down under. Nick Pope should be England's number 1, 100%. 100%. If KP wasn't a Leeds lad with links to the club, then we would happily take the fee. Yeah, it's sentiment, mate, isn't it? It's sentiment. Unfortunately, that rules football. Not unfortunately, because it's nice, isn't it? Like, we don't want to be losing a lad who's born and bred in the city. We don't want to be losing a lad who bleeds the club. We don't want to be losing a lad who, has been excellent for us in the past 4 years. But unfortunately, that's the football landscape that we've all got to get used to a little bit, especially when the owner's quoting the Leicester model. James says Adams is known too much. If that makes sense, his value will be higher than the players. Then players better than him because people know the name tag. Yeah, that's what I mean, Matt. I think it'll be 30, 35 million. Yeah, mate. This is from the Patreon. One of the archives. Finley, big Patreon member. You can join up in the section below. Did 5 replacements for Raphinha. Yeah, Koku was one of the names. Yeah, what a player, mate. What a player. Trust me. If you want to get in there and check out some more on Koku and some real replacements that we could get for Raphinha, it's all there in the link in the description below. He's underpriced because he's Turkish. If he was English, he'd be 80 million easy. And that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to look at players that are realistic and still have just world-class ability. Rick said, I think we're going to bulk our midfield with another 3 and Foster defo a shout. Yeah, 100%, mate. Definitely. Don't agree with you about Pope, Connor. Gale, I think you think every player that we have is the best player in the Premier League, though, don't you? Listen, if you watch Nick Pope, he is ridiculous. Nick Pope should have been at a top 6 club 5 years ago. Should have been at a top 6 club 5 years ago. Spurs had a real opportunity to go and get him. They didn't. It was a massive, massive mistake. And you've had players like Ramsdale going to Arsenal. Nick Pope is a top keeper. Dan says, agree Pope is better, but I should say 9 years. How good will our boy be? But when he gets that level, we will just sell like Rafa and KP. Yeah, he's definitely an asset. Jordan thinks KP will smash it. Fair enough. I've said it with KP. If he joins City, KP will only play domestic cup games and be coming on in the last 10 minutes of games. He won't get ahead of Rodri. That's playing facts. He's a bench warmer. Facts. Yeah, agree. 100% agree. Heard Burrow in for Ben Foster. Yeah. Was it Gibson? Shrewd operator. It's true, mate. Burnley without Pope would have been relegated 5 years ago, mate. Alfie said, in terms of Kalvin, I love him. I really do. But you can even see for England where he's consistently played out of place in a formation that doesn't suit him. Much less effective. He is. But if you say that, people always come back to you with England Player of the Year, and we know that. But You know what I mean? You could break that England Player of the Year down. You could break that Euro tournament down. He did exceptionally well, but you know, I think sometimes he's the hype train for Kalvin is definitely real. Connor Koku, that's not the player, by the way. It's Connor Koku. Connor Koku is apparently a West Ham target. If they get him, mate. Well, they were in the Europa League. They were in the Europa League, weren't they? West Ham, and obviously Feyenoord in the Europa League. So, yeah, it won't surprise me. Keep up the good work. Dean in Adelaide, Australia. Hello, Dean. Hope you're all right, mate. Thank you so much. Afternoon, AJ. Kalvin was England's best player in that system. Subjective, but fair enough. Dave, don't say it too loud. Don't say it too loud. Listen, this isn't me Kalvin bashing at all. People put it on me, as I always say when I question stuff when it comes to Kalvin. People get really upset. So all I'm saying is, with Kalvin, there are better players out there, cheaper players out there, believe it or not, and fit this Jesse Marsh system. Sorry, I've just read that. Arsenal put in a bid for one of Rafa's sweaty socks, 35 million. Alfonso, exactly, mate. A bad Burnley side, and watching Pope nearly relegated is enough to know how good he is. Do you remember him in that Villa game? Just, oh my God, nearly started crying. But it doesn't matter because Burnley are down. I'll read a couple. I've been going for about an hour, guys, so I'll leave it soon. Alfie's in the great viewing again. Con 177 likes, 800 viewers. Come on, guys. Come on. Let it go up, please. I have just entered. What's the gossip, Mark? You've got a whole hour to relive, mate, if you go on the replay. Will Leeds break their transfer record in the summer? I think there's a possibility, mate. I do think there's a possibility, especially with the market at the minute. Cash in on KP and hold Raphinha till January. It leaves in a strong negotiating position. Completely agree, because you're going to get Arsenal panicking. I don't think you'll get Tottenham panicking, but I think you could get Arsenal panicking. You know, if you've got the likes of maybe Martinelli not performing, Saka not hitting those dizzy heights, and you know it not going to plan for Arsenal. And you know what they're like with spending money. As we quoted earlier. What was it? 85 million on Pepe, 50 million on Ben White. They could really start to panic, especially if Raphinha's had a really good World Cup. Chris, Connor, any news on a new left back? I'm going to go to Charlie Taylor's house today, and I'm going to say, look, we're putting in an official bid for you, mate. I've had word from Victor Orto. We're going to put in a sly 8 million quid for you. Do you think would you fancy that? And I'll get back to you guys. Nothing, mate. Nothing, which is, if we don't get a left back, it's absolute lunacy. It's lunacy if they don't get a left back. And it is worrying me as well, mate. There was Kai Wagner links at Philadelphia Union, which was obviously going to be a link. But no, there has been none, which is ridiculous. Crowdfund Charlie Taylor. Yeah. And we all said Burnley got him for a steal. Yeah, Sticky. Yeah, 100%, mate. Remember when we all said Burnley got him for a steal? Yeah, 100%, mate. Alex has said, why not both for Adams and Kamara subs next year? Yeah. Big thing as well, mate. 5 subs next year. That squad needs to be good. Needs to be very, very good. You know, you can get the top sides and, you know, even the mid-bracket teams who've got a lot of depth on the bench. You know, I remember Palace in one game bringing on Elise, Eze, and Zaha. One game I was watching this season, I can't remember who they were playing against, but that's it. You know, teams do have depth in this division. So yeah, Leeds need to thicken up that. I would listen. I wouldn't be against Tyler Adams and Kamara, but one of them would have to sit on the bench. And would they want to do that? Well, Will with the breaking news. There we go, everyone. Arguably the 5 subs rule is why City want Phillips and for their English quota, mate. Don't forget about the English quota, which is a massive thing for Man City, so they can go out and buy foreign players. Any fresh news on Calimundo? No, I don't think we did, Dylan. Did a bit of digging on that, and I think it was a bit of agent talk. So, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. I am sweating. I need to get outside. It is boiling in this room. Thank you so much. There's nearly 1,000 of you watching. Please like the video. Make sure you are subscribing and comment in the section below as well. Any donations to the channel, that would be amazing. It all goes back into funding stuff for the channel and keeping up the maintenance of the channel. There'll be a PayPal link somewhere, I think in the description below. And Patreon is something that I do, 2 videos a week. And basically, it's just some Leeds videos, some extra bonus content from. It's all based on your suggestions as well. So, did one yesterday, 5 potential replacements for Raphinha. We've had some of the lads speak about that in the comment section below there. If you want to check that out, make sure you do so. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and thanks for cheering me up. I'll see you in a bit.